All right, guys, I'm back for our Wednesday reading. We're going to be doing questions 14 through 17. Again, I apologize for the confusion yesterday. I just lumped sections together like an idiot. But we're going to be doing now. This does seem like a small section. It might be tempting not to listen to this because you figure I can do those four questions without this help. But I still would like you to watch this because there's some really important sections in this part of the reading. All right. So as we start, we're still in the middle of the Faber and Montag interaction, and Faber's basically getting frustrated with Montag because he's scared Montag's going to get him in trouble. So he's trying to kick Montag out, and Montag finally just hits on an idea to get Faber to break Faber. He takes the Bible that he's holding, he starts ripping pages out, wadding them up, throwing them on the ground, and basically telling Faber he can do whatever he wants. And he knows that Faber really wants a copy of this. You think about how important the Bible is. There's no way they could have purged that from history. It still would be there. And they might be able to get rid of the text itself, but the concept of the Bible is not going to go away. So Faber, I mean, this is something that is amazing to him. It's a artifact from history that there's no way he would want Montag to destroy. So he breaks, and he actually almost attacks Montag to get him to stop. So he eventually says, "Fine, I give in. What can we do?" Um, and Faber starts, kind of fleshing out the idea. He's like, okay, I know some retired printers. I can get them in touch. They haven't worked in a while. We know a lot of old professors and old actors and stuff who, basically the world has no place for them. So we can get them to plant these books. So they start fleshing it all out. But he does make a kind of a neat comparison. Now, remember, I want you guys to think about when this was written back in the 50s and to realize that what Faber said, I'm sorry, I get in a hurry and forget. What Bradbury points out here had no signs of occurring at the time. This is one of those eerie moments where Bradbury hit on a thing that was going to happen in the future, and he nailed it well. Listen to this. He says, I know a man who printed a college paper half a century ago. That was the year I came to class at the start of the new semester and found only one student to sign up for drama, from Aeschylus to O'Neill. You see how, like a beautiful statue of ice, it was melting in the sun. I remember the newspapers dying like huge moths. No one wanted them back. No one missed them. And then the government, seeing how advantageous it was to have people reading only about passionate lips and the fist in the stomach, circled the situation with you fine readers. He points out the newspapers dying, which they would have been like at their peak almost, maybe in the 50s and 60s. Such a powerful medium for conveying news. He didn't know there was going to be 24-hour news networks and the internet. So today there are barely any newspapers left. They're almost all moved to online. But he talks about it and how people didn't miss it. And guys, the fact is your grandparents are probably the only people who really know much about getting a daily paper. Your parents might remember it some, but for the most part, it's just not a thing that people care about. So that's one of those things that he just nailed right on the head with no reason to. Like I said, it's kind of eerie. So Montag starts, this is becoming real for him. He starts thinking, the only problem is he knows he's going to have to go to work and deal with Beatty. He's at least got to turn in a book to get maybe buy himself some time. And he's worried that he's going to go there and Beatty's going to talk him back into being the old way. Think about, when we changed our opinion about something and we're still new and feeling a certain way, it's really easy for someone from the other side to pull you back and to convince you why, don't listen to them. They don't know what they're talking about. I mean, it seems rare today that people ever change their mind about anything. They're convinced they're right based on nothing, and they'll never listen to you. But, the people who are open-minded, it's really easy to see yourself going back and forth between two ways of thinking. So he's worried about that, and he mentions it several times, and finally Faber caves in grudgingly and decides, all right, I've got a solution. And he goes to the back and he pulls out a two-way radio, basically, that he's got that goes in the ear, just like their little seashell radios. But instead of it just transmitting, stuff to you, you also can interact with it. Again, not a big technology for us today, but probably in that time period, a much larger, sci-fi element. So he offers this to Montag and says, look, just keep it in your ear. When Beatty talks to you, I'll tell you what to say, and I'll combat that for you from the safety of my house. So, kind of a good plan. The next thing is, as Montag is walking back home, there is a discussion about of the war. We keep seeing little elements of the war showing up here and there. And then we get this here. Let me read this section to you. It says, we have mobilized 1 million men. Quick victory is ours if the war comes. Music flooded over the voice quickly and was gone. 10 million men mobilized, Faber's voice whispered in his other ear. But say 1 million. It's happier. Faber, yes. I'm not thinking. I'm just doing like I'm told, like always. You said you get the money and I got it. I didn't really think of it myself. When do I start working things out on my own? It says you've started already by saying what you just said. You'll have to take me on faith. But I took the others on faith. Yes, and look where we're headed. You'll have to travel blind for a while. Here's my arm to hold on to. But I don't want to change sides and just be told what to do. There's no reason to change if I do that. So what we're seeing here is that Montag actually is developing this type of thinking. He's getting to the point where he's like, I want to do this for myself. I don't want to be told what to do. And that's really a smart thing. You don't want to change your opinions and just blindly believe the other side either. You want to have reasons for it. And you want to be able to think for yourself. That's one of the purposes of this class. To be honest, it's my primary purpose in this class. Try to teach you to do that. So few of you do that. So many of you, it's like blind belief on whatever. And that's not a noble thing. That's a stupid thing. You should actually think about why you believe that way, because how else are you going to convince others? If you go up there and you say, well, I believe this because, well, it's just what I believe, that's not going to help. You need to have reasons. Okay, so we see Montag start thinking. Now, something really symbolic, Montag asks Faber to read to him while he's going. So Faber's going to read out of the Bible, and he picks the book of Job. Now, remember, there are, I believe, 66 books in the Bible, and they could pick any of them. He picks the book of Job for a reason. Bradbury chose that for a reason. Every detail is on purpose. And so what we know about Job is Job was a man who suffered greatly and lost everything, and then, God rewarded him later. But the fact is he lost everything. Guys, for those of you who can pick up on the illusion with an A, the reference here, you maybe get some foreshadowing that Montag's about to lose everything, which maybe. All right. Then we go into a weird scene. It's Montag walks into his house and we've got chaos going on. Mildred's there with two of her friends, a Mrs. Phelps and a Mrs. Bowles, and they're all excited because they're going to sit down and watch TV together. We get this interaction with them, which let me read this to you. I mean, it's completely nonsensical. It says, Montag found himself in the parlor door with his food still in his mouth. Doesn't everyone look nice? Nice. You look fine, Millie. Fine. Everyone looks swell. Swell. Montag stood watching them. Now, Montag's not involved in this conversation. This is Mildred and her friends talking. They're saying nothing. They're just echoing each other. We're going to see later that they just kind of, when they talk to each other, they just say, hey, did you see that? It's a really vapid, empty conversation, and it's very similar to the way a lot of us talk today. It's kind of depressing. Now, once again, every conversation doesn't need to be this big conversation of ultimate depth, but maybe some of them shouldn't be just complete nonsense emptiness. All right. So they keep going back and forth. Then we actually get a description of the TV show they're watching. Guys, this is disturbing. It says on one wall, a woman smiled and drank orange juice simultaneously. How does she do both at once, thought Montag insanely. In the other walls, an x-ray of the same woman revealed the contracting journey of the refreshing beverage on its way to her delighted stomach. So I guess that's educational, maybe. It says, abruptly, the room took off on a rocket flight into the clouds. It plunged into a lime green sea where blue fish ate red and yellow fish. A minute later, three white cartoon clowns chopped off each other's limbs to the accompaniment of immense incoming tides of laughter. A few minutes more, and the room whipped out of town to jet cars, wildly circling an arena, bashing and backing up and bashing each other again and again. Montag saw a number of bodies flying in the air. Their TV shows are these very brief, like 2 to 3 minute long things that are completely sensory based. They're loud. They're very violent. They're all image based. There's no depth to them. If you have a little cousin or a little brother or sister, and you've ever watched Baby Einstein videos, it's like that minus the violence and stuff, obviously. Which is like we had these when my kid was a baby, and it was images of a toy walking across the screen. Then all of a sudden it switched to, something else. Completely no unification, just nonsense. And that's what their TV shows are like. Because again, their attention span is ridiculous. All right. Remember earlier, Clarice had said that when people get together and talk, they don't say anything. Well, we're getting that right here. All right. Montag finally has enough. He pulls the plug and shuts the TV off, and everyone gets really uncomfortable because, again, they're not comfortable with this kind of silence. And he wants them to talk about something. And now we're going to end right in the middle of this conversation. We'll get the first part of the conversation, which is really about these women and their husbands, because there's a war going on. So Montag has a question about that. He says, when do you suppose the war will start? I notice your husbands aren't here tonight. Oh, they come and go, said Mrs. Phelps. In again, out again, Finnegan. The Army called Pete yesterday. He'll be back next week. The Army said so. Quick war. 48 hours, they said, and everyone's home. That's what the Army said. Quick war. Pete just called yesterday, and they said he'd be back next week. Quick, and then ... because she's trailing off. Notice how she can't really form a coherent thought. She's just rambling. Can you imagine people that way if we all of a sudden went to war with China and people would be like, oh, yeah, it'll be fine. We'll be back, in a week or so. There's no way people would say that. Just the three women fidgeted and looked nervously at the empty mud-colored walls. I'm not worried, said Mrs. Phelps. I'll let Pete do all the worrying. She giggled. I'll let old Pete do all the worrying. Not me. I'm not worried. It's always someone else's husband that dies, they say. Yeah, I've heard that too. I've never known any dead man killed in a war. Killed jumping off of buildings, yes, like Gloria's husband last week. But from wars, no. I mean, look at how heartless that is. And they're still talking about like, yeah, nobody's. I mean, if he dies in the war, whatever. I mean, she says he's not going to die anyway. But she'll let him worry about it. And then they point out, well, yeah, nobody dies in wars. They die from jumping off of buildings. Like that's better, but still, they do make that point. Again, we get that idea that suicide in their world is just so common. It's not even a thing they worry about. Now listen to this. She says, anyway, Pete and I always said, no tears, nothing like that. It's our third marriage each, and we're independent. Be independent, we always said. He said, if I get killed off, you just go right ahead and don't cry, but get married and don't think of me. I mean, wow. I mean, that is not even like a little bit of love. It's just completely marriage for convenience sake. So, really, and again, when you've got a world that's built around selfishness like theirs is, why would there be? I mean, a good, caring love interest would be someone that you care about more than yourself, and nobody in this culture cares about anyone but themselves. So why should they care? Now, I want to end on a kind of a weird note here, and this is something that I didn't really catch until probably several years of teaching it. But Mildred says, that reminds me, said Mildred, did you see that Clara Dove 5-minute romance last night in your wall? Well, it was about a woman who, and then she trails off. Now, honestly, that detail's not needed in the book unless you really think about what it is she's saying. And this is where you have to really think about each word sometimes. She said this show was a 5-minute romance. How would that possibly look? What could you possibly do to show someone meeting, falling in love, and having, this amazing relationship in a 5-minute session? It's impossible. It shows you again how awful the relationships in this world are. Now, that's the ending of the reading. As we get into the next section, we've already seen the husband and wife relationship. We're going to see something more disturbing when we see their relationship with their children in the next section. It's really bad. And it also hits a little close to home for our society, because I'd say we're not that different in many ways. All right. So up through now, you should be through question 17. You have enough to answer question 17. There's more coming up on it, but you can do it right now. And then I believe we'll be doing on the Thursday reading next, you'll be able to have a few more of these questions, and we'll get close to the end. So, all right, I'm going to stop here, take a quick break, and then come back and shoot videos for Thursday and Friday.